Good evening. It is Monday. It's been a little while, but these are going to become more regular. And I will clarify. My message earlier might have been a bit more ambiguous than I thought it was. Anyway, it is Mod Cons Monday. Welcome everybody. You are very, very welcome here this evening. How are we doing, guys? Are we all good?
Yeah,
all good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, before we get to who is in the chat, joining me this evening, we have got Mr. Blunners.
Hello. How is everyone?
Excellent. And we have got Mr. Tim, who's joining us from the sunny space of the Isle of Wight.
indeed. Or is it the Mushroom Kingdom?
Yeah, we'll go with the Mushroom Kingdom. I should have just said that.
With the wonders of modern technology, I could be anywhere.
You could. Yes, ignore that. He's not on the
Isle of Wight. I say I'm on holiday, mate. I can't see next to my drink. I'm having a beer because I'm on holiday now. So
holiday mode.
Not a school night for me today. So having a beer.
Excellent. So we've got a few people in the chat already, which is really good to see. We have got middle-aged gamer guy, Mr. Paul. How are we doing, good sir? Wonderful to see you. Mr. Rob Taylor, always wonderful to see you, good friend. I hope you're keeping well. Mr. Goldtooth, wonderful to actually meet you in person at the weekend as well, which is fantastic. Mr. Dorbs, how are we doing? How is London? All wonderful, I hope. Phantom Fiction, good. Oh yes, it is good afternoon for you, isn't it? So yes, thank you for joining in, tuning in. Excellent. So we've got a few topics to get through today, and then we've also got a couple of extra bits in there as well that I thought I should have put that in there and didn't. So we're going to talk about it tonight anyway instead. But as always, let's get going with the first topic, which is what are you playing? So, Mr. Blunners, what have you been playing lately?
So I'm about 80 hours into Tears of the Kingdom now. So I finally have gone around and I've done all the 4 main majors. I've managed to get myself the Master Sword, and I've also done I found I went round and made sure I found all the memories, like the tears in this game. They're called the tears, but like the memories, like you did, so you get like a little cutscene and voiced cutscene as well.
Oh wow!
And there's still a whole massive part of the game I still haven't even done yet. So it's like, do I go to the castle? Do I upgrade all my gear and then sneak back out of the castle and then go and fight and then do this other part of the game, which could easily be another 20 hours easy, just trying to find stuff underneath. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, but so that's not the only game I've been playing. So I am a massive Pikmin fan game as well. So Pikmin 4 was released on Friday.
It did.
And so I've just started playing that as well. So I played a bit of the demo. I knew I was going to get it anyway, but because I played a bit of the demo, it's good because you could carry straight on. So I haven't got to sit through all the beginning stuff of how to play the game again, when obviously I know how to play it. But it's the same old game. There's some new characters, some new different types in there. I'd say I'm about 5 to 10 hours in on that at the minute, but it's just one of them games you can chill out, take your time and play it. You just go around your little army with little army of Pikmin, and certain characters can do certain things for you. But because I remember I got the first one on the GameCube day one.
Yeah.
They will be releasing both of them later on the Switch 1 and 2, the HD remakes.
Nice.
Which they did bring out on the Wii, but it's just a bit of a chill. That's just a chill out game, really. Just something you can just quickly, because it runs as a day clock. So I don't know if you've ever played it, but you get you've got to get back to your spaceship before the day ends. So just making sure I just can quickly just do a day, and then I'm done. I'll just do another day the next day. I don't want to go too much on it, because obviously I'll just finish it straight away, and then I'll be like, onto the next one kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm between them two games in a minute. Haven't
Nice.
I need to get something. I need to get back into God of War on the PS5 because I have got that and kind of put that down when Tears of the Kingdom came out. So
Hmm.
that'll be
Yeah.
my big game once I've done Tears of the Kingdom. I'll go back to it. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my game.
Excellent stuff. That's a nice plethora of games. That, Mr. Tim, what are you playing at the moment?
So I did pick up Antstream Arcade, so I won't talk about it too much because I'm going to cover that a bit later. But I've been playing a few games on there and seeing what that's about and how well that works. But what I have brought with me on holiday is a game I picked up at the Not So Doom Game Expo, and that is on the Game Boy. I've got a game called the green.
Has it got a green label? There we go.
The Train. Which is a game that came out. So it is a modern game. It came out 2023. I've been playing that on the Game Boy. So I brought my Game Boy Color. I just put it in front of my face. So I brought my Game Boy Color with me on holiday so I can play the Train.
Yeah.
So far it's been quite fun. It's
Excellent.
kind of like top-down sort of map style, very similar to like Dedius. Because I was speaking to the creator at the Not Video Game Expo. I said, "Oh, did you make this in Game Boy Studio? Because I'm working on a game in Game Boy Studio myself." I thought, "Oh, was that what you're using?" He said, "Yeah." So we started chatting a bit about how you make games in that, and I can kind of see how the games are built. And it's like you walk around talking to different people. There's a good story, so it's all about a story about a town that's got a train that's out of order, and people haven't been able to leave the town for years because this train is the only route in and out of town has been out of commission. So the first thing you do is fix the wheel that's broken. So you've got to go around talking to different people, get different materials, try and get the wheel mended to then fix the train, and then it moves on to the next bit, and then there's another town where you need to do other puzzles. So it's kind of like a puzzle solver game with a story-driven puzzle solver, yeah. And there's a few little things that break up the gameplay as well. So there'll be a few like maze sections or platformy bits or little mini games that you have to complete in order to get to the next part of the game. So far I'm enjoying it. It's been pretty good. So I'll try and play that a bit more and try and complete it. But yeah, that's what I'm playing probably this week because I've brought it with me as my game to play while I'm on holiday.
Excellent. That's also really cool. I do enjoy getting to play a new modern retro game. It's it's always exciting. Always. So I've been playing a couple of things. This has been my sort of game that if I want to be playing something really really sort of short and snippets for a while, I've been playing a little bit of Sonic Origins Plus on PS5. Comes with a nice book. It's got Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic CD, and then it came with a download patch as well, so you can play as Amy in all of the original games, and it comes with all the Game Gear titles as well. It runs butter smooth as you would expect. There's so many different modes on this though. So I've completed Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I've started Sonic CD now. And there's so many cool little modes that you can do in it. So you can play all the games back to back, and it's got a cool new animation cutscene to kind of like intersplice all the games, which is really cool. Or there's like boss rush mode, so you can just play all the bosses for a particular game and see if you can beat them all in quick time scales. Yeah, it's a really good pickup, and I knew if I held on long enough there would be a physical. So absolutely dead happy I did wait. The thing that has finally arrived, I paid for this months and months ago, as you do with limited run, but my copy has finally turned up. I haven't put it in yet, but this will probably be the next game I play properly. That is the Blade Runner Enhanced Edition. For people that recognize that is the Blade Runner game that was on PC back in the 90s. Such a cool game. Really, really cool. Runs and plays like a point and click adventure kind of thing. Just a really cool Blade Runner story. So
I did play that. Yeah, that was really good actually. I remember my mate of mine had that and he lent it to me. I'm not massive into point and click games, but I did play through that one. That was pretty cool.
It's one of these games where you can play it and complete it in multiple different ways. Lots of different interactions cause different things to happen later in the game. So yeah, I'm dead excited to jump back into that. And of course, with Dorbs in the chat, I've been playing his favorite franchise like a crackhead, and that is Final Fantasy 16. Oof, that is a next gen game. You look at it, it really does look and feel like a PS5 game. You can't get it obviously on PS4, so it finally feels like we're now starting to get the games that have been made for this generation. Now they're not sort of half doing it in and out. It's like, no, this is a next gen game. The story's pretty cool. The medieval type Final Fantasy games are not my favorites, but this one I'm really quite invested in. The battle system is not typical Final Fantasy, so maybe Dorbs might enjoy it. It's very much more akin to like hack and slash, actually.
Okay.
So it is more like Devil May Cry than it is Final Fantasy, but there is still a tactical element to how you choose to operate and fight. But yeah, it's very more action centric than it is anything else. So it's cool. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It works really well for the game and the universe that you're in. The big switch up, which is
How many
very.
hours are you in?
I'm 42 hours in now, and I reckon I'm about 60% complete. So I reckon I've got a little bit more to go. Sending doors
I
to
think
snooze.
I think with the battle system, like some of them have had like a bit more hack and slash. Like actually, the 7 remake, I thought the battle system with that was really good because it's a good hybrid of like
Mhm.
you strategically using your materia and like doing the actual time-based attacks with a mixture of hack and slash.
Mhm.
I thought that's probably the best hybrid I played. I quite like 13 as well. We have the paradigm system, so you're still
Best
like running
battle
on history,
system.
but every now and then you get switch it around. That was pretty cool. You know what I really
Best.
didn't like that much was 12. Was that the one where
Yeah.
you had like I can't remember what they called it. I think it was wasn't paradigm, just something else they called it. I can't remember what the system's called. You basically put in like the what if statements, like if this happens, do this. When this happens, do that, and then it just plays for you, and you're just
Yeah.
walking around, and the battles all automated based on what command you put in. I thought that was really dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to play it because do like Final Fantasy, so it sounds good.
So I've only
It's good.
I've only really ever played 7 years and years ago, but like they don't follow in suit today. Is it just like random game every
No.
time? I remember I tried playing one before and we thought, well, there's no characters on here I recognise.
Yeah,
No,
they're all.
well, there's a few similar themes, aren't there? So there's a few things that will be in
Mm.
every Final Fantasy game. So a lot of most Final Fantasy games, if not all of them, I think, have chocobos in, like the big yellow birds. There's normally a guy
Yeah.
called Sid who flies an airship, but it's not the same Sid. It's just there's a recurring name of Sid. And the summons often repeat. So Ifrit and Shiva and stuff appear in multiple games. And then a lot of the things like the magic will be the same. Like you have like Fire 2, that sort of thing. But the actual story and characters and the worlds that it's set in is normally different, unless it's like
Why
a
is
direct
that?
sequel like 10-2.
Why is that? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
like what the
keeps it
franchise
fresh, I
does.
think. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
The change up in this one though for summons is you don't necessarily like summon them during the battle, but as like a select. So if you've got the power of what would be called a summon, you're called a dominant, which is a little bit S&M-y, really. So you're a dominant of, and then you've got Shiva, Ifrit, Bahamut, all of this kind of stuff, and you can. The game will kind of pick a moment when, story-wise, you then fight as dominants. So your main dominant in this is Ifrit, which is who your character turns into, and then you play as Ifrit, like running around the screen, smashing up Bahamut or smashing up Titan, and it is absolutely bananas, and it's very, very cool. No, I will not move on to the topic.
I think my favourite summon mechanic I've seen so far was in 10, because the party would move, wouldn't they? And then like you basically cast a summon a bit like a Pokemon. They'd come out and then you battle with them for a bit. I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Rather than just turning up, doing an attack and going, you'd have a little section with playing as the summon.
Yeah.
The
so
Aeon was very cool in that, wasn't it?
Yes. So there's huge areas of this game where it's normally a boss fight when you'll have like your full dominant ability, and it's just great fun. It brings a totally new mechanic to the game. It's different. It's interesting. You feel a bit like Godzilla running around. It's cool. Really, really cool. It's very different to other styles of Final Fantasies, but it's definitely worth checking out. I would absolutely say. Okie dokie. So let's go with first main topic of this evening. I'd be interested to know if anyone in the chat has actually playing this game, because I'd be interested to know how much it has affected you. And that is the Diablo 4 getting nerfed. So I saw the other day that Blizzard were trying to, well, I presume they're just trying to balance the game out a little bit. The game comes out, people start playing it for, hundreds, even thousands of hours, build your character up to these really, strong levels, and then you can effectively, I guess, do a lot of the harder bits of the game, but a lot easier. So effectively, they've now nerfed, I think, all classes, or certainly the majority of classes in Diablo 4 now. Making it really, really difficult. Did you say nerfed or nerfed? I mean, I think people playing the game in the community would probably rather say nerfed, because I think they feel they've been.
Feel like they've been nerfed.
I think they do. I feel like they've been bent over a little bit. And it's just created a lot of sort of interesting discussions. So I don't know whether you guys have had a chance to sort of read a little bit about it, and if you had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I've read about it, but I just feel it's a bit crazy to do. So, you know how like big this community is that plays kind of games. Like, I've only dabbled in, I haven't really played a lot of them, but can you imagine building your character up to a level and then it all just getting absolutely like wiped down to just like where you're just knocked. It's just madness. They just knocked like loads of hit points off you and everything. Like, just wiped you back down. It's just nuts. It's madness.
I don't really play Diablo or anything, but the only thing I can feel it's akin to is when they do it with like Warhammer. Like every now and then, Warhammer. Well, I say every now and then, quite regularly, they bring out new rule books because they make a lot of money by selling you the latest rule book. And they do like nerf different armies. They'll make certain things stronger, make certain things weaker. I guess in an attempt to balance out the game a bit. But if you're a player who's just like spent loads of money on models, painted all your models, like, well, I've got this army I want to play as. They go, oh yeah, we're now going to make this particular species weaker. You'd be like, so it's tough for the people it impacts, I suppose. It's a bit annoying. They probably do it with good intent, right? They wouldn't change that for no good reason. They probably intend to make it better. But there's going to be some people that are going to be a bit pissed off about that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine putting, let's say, 1,000 hours into Diablo 4 to get your character where they are, to then wake up the next day and it's just gone. Oh, no, don't worry about that now. That you're now incredibly weak and tough shit. It's just it really doesn't feel like a very fair thing to do to a community of people that commit that amount of hours to it. And
so when you say nerf, have they like changed some of like the base mechanics of the game, or have they actually made it so that characters have been reset back to zero?
I think it's the second. I don't think they've tinkered with the characters. They've just effectively made your stats now mean not as much as it did before. So that everything, well, they say it's as you guys have both said, it's in a way to try and balance the game, make it a bit more of a challenge. But ultimately what they should do is just make parts of the game harder, not nerf your character. Just make bits of the game harder at the beginning. Start, like, I guess the easiest way for me to look at it would be to look at Elden Ring. Elden Ring is a hard game, but Elden Ring starts not too intense, so it's still very much a From Software game from the very beginning, but it doesn't just annihilate you from the beginning. It really does build you up slowly, lets you fight really weak characters, lets you get used to how the game mechanics works, lets you die a little bit, but it doesn't punish you for just turning up. And then as you progress through the game, obviously things start to get incredibly difficult and the boss fights become incredibly hard. But by this point, you're already in a mindset of, right, I understand the mechanics, I understand how this works, and I know this is going to get harder and harder and harder. Whereas with Diablo 4, it feels like people have gone in, they've done everything they want to do to get their characters to where they're at, and now they've gone, that was a bit easy, wasn't it? All right, well, let's just screw everyone's character over to make it harder so that everybody has to do it again or whatever. And you just doesn't feel like a very community thing to do. The problem is people were going hard on the game because people were enjoying it so much. They got through it, finished it before the first season stuff out. Okay, yes, so yes, they are literally just about to bring out the new season of stuff, aren't they? But again, like you think they'd know that they've had 3 of these games so far, and it's a very popular franchise. And you'd think, right, people are probably going to put in a lot of time into this. So why don't we just make these bits of it harder? Put harder boss fights in, even if the majority of the game stays as it is. Just make the boss fights like hard as nails, so that people get an opportunity to, I guess, build the character up for a specific purpose. I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how easy it is to do this sort of thing, but it just doesn't feel like they've done right by the players, especially the hardcore players.
Yeah, agreed. Sounds like it. Like
I'm
I'm
surprised
not
if
a
they
fan
do
of
lose a
gameplay Diablo, so I wouldn't be able to say firsthand. But no, I think you're right with that. It sounds like that's how it's been taken by most people.
Yeah. What were you saying there, Blanners?
Yeah, and I also think they could lose players as well. People can just think, you know what, fuck this. See you later.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's because it's a game that I've been intrigued to play. I played a little bit of Diablo 3, and just wasn't really in that sort of headspace when that game came out. But I really did fancy Diablo 4. But I'm kind of thinking I'll hold fire.
What's this game that's being developed as we speak? There's a game being developed in the chat that Dorbs is mapping out. He's up to level 4.
He is. You drive to the supermarket at 10 miles an hour for first gear. Dorbs, keep this coming. I want to see how far the game gets.
He's going to get to some sort
Tim
of
could make it in Game Boy Studio.
Yeah, I'll give it a good crack.
And are we gonna call this Final Fantasy? Is this what Goldtooth said earlier?
I think it was it. What was he called it? He said.
Yeah, Final Fantasy.
So, something with Gare said it, surely.
Final Fantasy. Yeah, we'll go with Final Fantasy.
Found it.
Final Fantasy. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because he likes the granny, the bingo.
So, as always, if people do have questions for us, do stick them in the chat. So Goldtooth just put one there. I've stuck a little star on it. We'll get to the end and we will answer some questions at the end and see what we can get there. Level 5 is a VR level where you have to pluck your mustache. Wow, this is getting out there. This is getting out there, Dorbs. Keep it coming. How many levels are we going to get to before we get to the end?
What was it called?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, that was it.
Unbelievable.
I've got them.
Anyway, moving swiftly on to our next topic, and I think Tim will be able to give us a nice little rundown for this. So our next topic is going to be Antstream Arcade, which, if anyone that doesn't know, Tim will give you a lowdown as to what Antstream Arcade is, and tell you some of the platforms that this has now come out on. So Tim, over to you.
Yes, I actually have dabbled with Antstream a little bit before because I had it on mobile on that. I didn't get too into it because I've got another mobile app I use for retro games from an old system that I bought a while ago, and it's kind of offering the same thing. But now it's come out on Xbox. You can get it on Xbox One or Xbox Series X. And I looked at the offers, and they do like a subscription service. So for $29.99, you have it for a year, but for $79.99, you get a lifetime subscription. And I was like, for that price, the amount of games you get on it, it seems like a fairly good deal, 80 quid just to have it permanently when it's normally a subscription. So I just thought, I'll just go for it, I'll just get it. And it's like your typical thing of like a bunch of emulated games, but it looks like they've got like an updating library, so they're probably going to bring out more stuff or add stuff to the library. You've got different genres that you can browse. It's got quite a nice interface at the front. It's basically like your Amazon Prime or Netflix kind of interface, but with games. And you can search stuff. And the thing that I think makes it stand out is it's got challenges and achievements and things like that. And they'll put up a challenge, and the challenges will have like a limited amount of time available. I've not tried any challenges yet. I thought I'll play around with it first and play a few games. But a lot of the challenges they had were on games I've not played. So maybe if they bring out a challenge for a game that I have actually played enough, I might stand a chance of doing well on it. Whereas if it's a game I've never played, then other people are going to be smashing it. So it looks pretty good to have like a challenge, loads of challenges as well. There's like quite a few, and they all say like how many days they've got left on the challenge. And it looks like there's a currency system on there as well. I've not really looked into it yet, but I noticed that one of the challenges you have to pay so many gems to join the challenge, and if you won the tournament, you'd win a bunch of gems, and you start off with so many gems. So I've not really seen how the gem system works yet, but it looks like you can use that to like get additional stuff. So there might be something that I purchase. But even without delving into that at all, and just looking at the games, there's quite a good, decent library. And the other thing that interested me was there's also an indie section. And there's quite a few games I played that were like Evercade releases on there. So you can play Flea, Tapeworm, that Crow Maiden. I was playing Tanglewood on there yesterday. So it's got some good indie games as well. And it's got quite a
few in 4K as well.
Yeah. I've not seen a huge amount of like PS1, but I did see Loaded on there, and 40 Winks was on there. They're the only PS1 games I saw. But there's quite a lot of arcade stuff, arcade games and Amiga and that sort of thing. And you can do save states. Obviously, the only thing I did find was a bit odd. I was playing Magic Pockets on the Amiga, and the save option was grayed out. So for some reason, I couldn't save my state on that game. But then when I played Tanglewood as a Mega Drive game, it was letting me do save states. It's a really convenient way to play games because on your Xbox. I mean, for me, my Xbox is my main media center at home. That's where I watch Netflix and other things. And if I'm watching movies or TV or something, it's through the Xbox. And if I want to pick up and play a retro game, I can just open up Antstream and pick something and go without having to like change over, which HDMI source I'm on, or change console, or pick up a different controller, or swap out cartridges. It's all just there. So for £80 for a lifetime subscription, I think that's a pretty decent deal. I'm quite happy with it at the moment.
Nice.
Well, keep with it, I think. Definitely want to delve into some challenges. I think the challenges are going to be what makes it different. That's the unique selling point, I think, because it's got the little challenges on there.
Yeah. And wonderful to see you there, Mr. Owl. Absolutely fantastic event at the weekend. Antstream, or a representative of Antstream, was at the event, wasn't it? Kind of.
Was indeed, yeah. I think it launched on that day. I think it launched on the Saturday. I didn't really get a chance to look at it too much, but enough for me to go home and buy it the next day.
Yeah. Amazing. So there we go, Yao. Straight away at your event, it's having them there's made Tim go back, and he's gone and become a lifetime member of Antstream Arcade, all because it was there. But yeah, it does seem like a genuinely good deal. It's interesting to see that there's now something else that's kind of coming into that sort of market, and it's never going to be able to compete with some of the big things like Game Pass and stuff, but where it's totally unique to retro gaming or older games anyway, that's going to be a really big hit. It's very, very cool, and I'm presuming they're all licensed, aren't they?
Yeah, they must be.
Yeah,
it's getting people playing retro games.
Exactly. Yeah,
saying like, oh, will there be games taken off? So I think there's an element of, if they lose the licenses for stuff, they might take some games down, but they're going to be adding new ones as well. So it's like a constant live thing. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to pay £30 every year for it, but I thought £80 for a lifetime subscription was just a no-brainer for me. I was like, yeah, that's worth a punt, I think, for that price. Just considering the amount of games you get on day one, it's like over 1,000 games straight off the bat. So it's a pretty decent deal, I think.
That is a very good deal. Yeah, and exactly that. Yeah, great news for Xbox and Microsoft, because now they've got Game Pass. Now you've got Antstream Arcade. I mean, yeah, if you've got an Xbox at the minute and those two subscription services, I'd say you've probably got the ultimate gaming subscription service, really. I mean, that's an insane deal. Imagine being able to play something like, well, I don't know, what's the next, like Starfield on day one, because you play into Game Pass, and then just to take a breather, you'll just sort of go and play Street Fighter 2 on Antstream. It's just, I mean, that just sounds great. That's a really good deal.
They've got a decent amount of like shooters and beat 'em ups and fighting games as well on there. I did jump on. What's that?
Set into consoles, or is it all just?
Again?
Is it set into consoles, or is it just in like genre?
Yeah, it does say which console they're on. I'm sure there is a way of filtering it by console, but I couldn't see one immediately. But it has like different subheadings. It starts off with like what's currently trending and the challenges, and then if you go down, it's got things like shooters, indies, beat 'em up. So it's kind of filtered it by genre. But then you can do a search. I think you can even search by like different games. Like you can put like SNK, and it will give you all the SNK games in a list and things like that. So lots of different ways of searching for what you want.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds like a really great deal. We'll have to come over and play some Antstream at yours, Tim, I think, and see see what we can get going there. I think it'd be great fun. Okie dokie. So next, I was going to bring up something that really took me by surprise. Generally, there's one or two things in the next thing that we'll talk about where you kind of know they're coming, and then every now and then like pepper in the odd little surprise for you, and that is the most recent Nintendo Direct. Now, everybody knows who Nintendo are. Everybody knows the sorts of things that they bring to the party, everything to the types of games they bring. But Nintendo are really good at sneaking things upon you and just throwing it into the mix and kind of just sort of going surprise. And yeah, they really did that. I think on this last Direct, I think everybody wanted something about Metroid Prime 4, but we know it's coming. We know they've had to start again, so you know it'll come when it comes, I think. But yeah, have you both had a chance to see what sort of treats Nintendo brought to the Direct for everybody?
Yeah, I mean,
I've got.
Blood, you're quite a Nintendo guy. You go first, because I'm sure there's been lots that's taken your fancy of those.
Go on, Mr. Blunders. I'll
So
let you run with it.
okay, yes, there's quite a few things I'd like to bring up on it. I was really hoping I'd see Metroid Prime 4. I was like that to me, but I personally now think that that's going to be for the Switch 2 or the next console they bring out. It'll be one of them like they normally do. It might be on both consoles, but a bit more enhanced on the other.
Mhm.
The biggest surprise to me, which we did hear about a few quite a long time ago, was this guy.
Yes.
Was the new Detective Pikachu game. So if you played the first one, I loved it. Film was really good. That is the amiibo, by the way, if anyone's wondering what it is. But yeah, so that one caught me off guard. So that was I do feel I did really enjoy the film. I really enjoyed the 3DS game when it came out. So that's one of the games I'm definitely looking forward to. There was some other little tidbits in there, like the Luigi's Mansion 2 getting remade. There was a Princess Peach game that was going to come out. The usual Splatoon Fest, which I did dive in because you have to vote for who you want to be. Mine's always mint chocolate chip, which I think won. I can't remember who won. And Mario Brothers Wonder at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
I do. Yeah, and I am a fan of the animation. I do think it looks really good. But I really wanted like Mario Odyssey 2, or I wanted like I'm a big fan of the 3D Mario's, like like the Mario 64 ones. I'm a really big fan of them games. But yeah, I personally I thought it was quite a good Direct. There's some good games on there come out, but I just wanted to see even a trailer of something to get, because obviously after just bring even like just thinking about Metroid Prime, are they going to remake 2 after the success of 1? Because I think that was such a, like I was saying, we both played through that, Ollie. Metroid Prime 1 was quite good because me and you I was messaging you, see where you got to, if you done it yet, and you were doing it back to me, and we were like trying to like just, it was good having someone else who was kind of at the same levels where I was playing the game at the same time, so it was quite good. Like, and I'd quite happily do 2 and 3 again if they brought them out like they remastered that. It was brilliant, and the music brings you straight back to playing it back. Yeah, so it's definitely, I quite enjoyed it. There's a couple I'm just hoping for, but I do think that that this Metroid Prime 4 will be like for the next system, I hope.
Yeah, there's the lack of Prime 4 was a bit but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think where they've had to start again, there's that little part of me that thinks we're not going to see much of it this year, if anything. I think we'll be very, very lucky to see something of it this year. But yeah, the one that really, well, there were two that really sort of took me by surprise. The first one was, yes, Mario Wonder. A slightly new look to the whole 2D Mario. He's actually animated now when he was, as you see him run to the pipe, and Yeah, and just seeing his facial expressions change as he's running and jumping, it's like, oh man, this is awesome. And with normally with every new Mario game, you get a new power up. And as we were watching the trailer, I was like, so where's the new power up? Come on, where's the new power up? And then it sort of finished. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're saving that. And then it comes right back, and you can turn into an elephant. And
Yeah,
I have
what the hell?
Yeah.
I have no idea how Elephant Mario is going to work. I have no idea what he's going to do, but I'm all in. I didn't realize how much I
hope it's
needed
not just
Elephant
the
Mario.
same as like, you know, we had the Mega Mushroom, one of the recent ones, wasn't it? We just grew big for a short amount of time and just crushed everything. It might just be that, but I'm hoping it's something new. I'm just
Mhm.
you know, new skin of that. But
Yeah.
I think the things that stood out for me as well is I quite look at Sonic game, another you know,
Yes.
2D side-scrolling Sonic
Yeah.
game. That's how Sonic should be, in my opinion. Not a big fan of the 3D open world Sonic games. I always like playing like, you know, Sonic Mania when that came out. That was really good fun. I really enjoyed that. So to get another 2D side-scrolling Sonic game, I'm well up for that. So looking forward to that, especially that you've got like 4 characters. You played like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, and then actually have 4 players on screen.
Yep.
That will be a good laugh, I think. I hope that's executed well. So I reckon I'll definitely be picking that up. And then the Metal Gear Solid remake or
Yeah.
remastered. Now that's on multiple
Yes.
platforms, but whenever anything comes out on multiple platforms like that, I'm always like, Switch, because I can play it on my TV or on a handheld, and Switch just has the
Yep.
edge. It's like, okay, I can get this game on PS5, get it on Xbox One, or I can get it on a Switch, and then I've got it on a console and a handheld. So I think with stuff like that, sometimes the Switch just seems like the better option, I think, sometimes. But yeah, I think I'm intrigued by those two.
Yep. Definitely looking forward to that because it's been a long time. Like I like Metal Gear. I'm not in love with it like some people are. Some people think it's, you know, it's the second coming. But that first Metal Gear game is iconic, and it is so good. And it has been, I reckon it's been 15 years since I've played through the very first Metal Gear game. So I will absolutely be picking that up purely just so I can play the first Metal Gear game again. I do like 2 very much, although I think Kojima needs an editor. I think we've said this before with I think it was Ellie from Late to the Game podcast when we were chatting to her about Kojima and how he just needs an editor, someone to sort of pull him back every now and then and kind of go, yeah, just don't have the vampire bit. That looks a bit weird. You know, you're in a tactical espionage game. Why are the vampires? But yeah, same for you, Tim. Dead excited for that, and a really cool way to announce it as well. Announce it at a Nintendo Direct, and then the trailer comes out later and says, "Oh yes, actually, we're coming to PlayStation as well. Don't worry." But just really cool to announce it at a Direct. The one that I did not see coming at all, though, completely sucker punched me, was the Mario RPG remake. And I love Mario RPG. It's such a good game. It is exactly like it says on the tin. It is a Super Mario RPG developed by back then Squaresoft and Nintendo in conjunction. Came out on Super Nintendo in America and Japan. I don't think we got it in Europe, but it was
No,
one of
we
those.
never got it.
And it was always one of those games that I saw pictures of in Nintendo magazines and always thought, are we getting this or what? And didn't actually get to play it properly until I was an adult and got the Super Nintendo Mini. It came on that, played through the whole thing. It's charming. It's wonderful. If you like turn-based RPGs and you like Super Mario, it's a big tick in the box. So to be able to play a complete remake of this game, so it looks lovely, it looks more charming now because it's got the sort of, it almost looks a little bit like the remake of Link's Awakening, but not quite as cutesy. It still looks very much like Mario. So that was the one that totally took me by surprise. Would never have placed a bet. If I had to bet any money, you can always bet there's at least going to be a 2D Mario or a 3D Mario game, maybe a remake of something, but I would never have chosen a remake of Mario RPG. But
Yeah,
can't
I've
wait.
never played it. I've never played it, so I can't wait to play it. Like, it's just one of the things I've never got around to. Because is that what birthed Paper Mario? Is it the RPG one? I've heard.
It could be. It's got elements of that in it for sure. But it does just play very much like early Squaresoft Japanese RPGs. You know, you enter a battle, you go into turn-based combat, and that's how you fight. But
It's all like Mario themed. It's when you attack the Mario, you're running like jump on stuff. Like rather than running and jumping on the platform, it's turn-based, like select attack, jump, and he jumps on them and things like that. So
it's
quite,
great.
It's got a lot of charm to it. That game. It's quite a charming game.
I think you're going to love it, Blunders. It's really, really cool.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was a definite going to be a day one pickup for me. And yeah, that was, I think, some of the major highlights from the Nintendo Direct. There were some other little bits in there.
There's one more I can say.
Oh, go for it.
So, how does everyone feel as we're the Mario Kart players in the group? How are we all feeling that all our it's just we're not getting a new game? It is literally just going to be churned DLC with these new characters. There's another wave. Oh, we're gonna chuck. See, what I mean, there's some more courses out. Which, to be fair, I've played quite a few of the new ones, and it is very good. But are we not going to see another? That's it for Mario Kart now. It's just going to be they'll release one at the beginning of the life, and then they'll just churn out, redo all these courses again.
I hope
I'm sure we'll get another. They'll bring out another Mario if they bring out a new console. So if we get like a Nintendo Switch 2, there'll be another Mario Kart on that, I reckon. But it also, for me personally, I've only really recently picked up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because I had Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I didn't see the point of getting 8 Deluxe, and then I eventually bit the bullet. Actually, no, I'm going to get 8 Deluxe, which is actually improved. It is much better. I didn't realize how different it was to 8, and I really enjoy it. And I haven't even got the DLC yet. I'm still playing through the original track, so I'm going to get all the DLC. So for me, it's not really a problem because I've only recently picked it up, and I'm going to get the DLC. If they're bringing out a new Mario Kart again, it'd be quite soon for me. But I appreciate for anyone else who bought it when it came out, that's been your Mario Kart game for quite a while now.
But for me, be a true Mario Kart player and get it day one, mate.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that much different to the one on the Wii U. I was like, I've got the Wii U one. So didn't bother at the time.
There's an interesting comment from Mr. Goldtooth here. Nintendo, where is F-Zero at?
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to see a new F-Zero. I would love that.
Don't Sega own F-Zero now? Did they do the last one, the G8 GTX or GX, whatever it was on the GameCube? Was that a Sega game?
Hang on, I've got it somewhere.
I mean, it plays great. It plays absolutely great. But yeah, it just requires Sega to do something with the franchise now, I think.
No, mine doesn't say Sega on it.
Does it not?
No.
I'll have to see who developed that, because I don't think it was a complete Nintendo developed game, but a very cool one. And yes, completely agree. We need a new F-Zero. Absolutely. So yeah, that was the Nintendo Direct. That came, it saw, and it absolutely kicked everybody in the ass. I think it was a great little showcase from Nintendo. Before we get on to another couple of topics here, I'm going to bring in the one that isn't in the title. And this might be the one that Harry in the chat will probably have a little bit to say about as well. We were chatting only today about it. Spider-Man 2. Phil Spider-Man.
This is the real sequel. This one.
Yeah.
That DLC.
The announcement trailer was very cool. I think we all knew Venom was going to come because he's that little sneaky at the end of the first one. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't played the first one. There was another little bit in the Miles Morales expansion game that had some pretty cool little teasers in it as well. So to finally get to see, right, Venom is going to be in this game was pretty cool in the original trailer. They've now dropped their most recent trailer, which has a really killer soundtrack as well. It's really atmospheric. I said to Harry today I was not going to watch that trailer because I wanted to sort of have a little bit of mystery, because again, I think Harry had said that a few things were starting to get teased and spoiled. So I was like, right, that's it. I'm not going to do it. And then was the first thing I did when I got home is I did it and clicked on it and off we went. But yeah, that game looks insane. Absolutely insane.
Unbelievable.
So
how old is the PS5 now? It's what, 3 years old?
Yes, it came out in lockdown 1.
So yeah, my son, that's the first game my son completed, and he was 8. Completed Spider-Man 1. then he done Miles Morales straight away after. So he's so hyped for this. He's now 11, so he's hyped for this because the mechanics, everything on it was it's brilliant. Love both games.
I think me and Tim have said this. We're kind of really hoping that Venom has, or the Venom symbiote part when he's attached to Peter Parker, has his own skill tree, because that would be really cool to be able to play as Venom and have his own little skill tree to sort of build him up. That would be really exciting, really exciting. And man, there's just something about this game. Like the first one on the PS4 was phenomenal. The Miles Morales game is phenomenal if you didn't pay £60 for it day one. If you paid 20 quid for it, even 30 quid for it, it's a great deal. It's not a 60 quid game though. But that game's great as well. It's a nice little expansion, a great introduction to Miles for people that maybe aren't familiar with the character. But this just looks like it's on another level. It really does. I'm so excited, so excited to see what they do with it. Insomniac did a really great job. They managed to change little bits in the Spider-Man story and the Spider-Man lore, but it didn't in any way discard the Spider-Man story, the origins, or anything like that. It just had a new flavor to it, which is great, and I love that. And this is why I don't get bent out of shape when the movies don't follow the comic books exactly. It's like they don't need to follow it exactly. As long as it's just got the spirit of the character and the spirit of what you want, everything else is up for grabs as far as I'm concerned in adaptations.
And actually, whenever you do anything like that, you kind of want it to be a little bit different as well, so you don't know what's going to happen. Like you might expect a few things to happen every now and then. It throws you a curveball. I kind of prefer that. It's like then you're not just going there and you're seeing the exact same story. They're going to mix things up a bit. Sometimes the same things happen, but it's like a different character fills a certain role. So the same event happens, but it's someone else that does it. Things like that I always think work. That first Spider-Man game was fantastic. I think that's still one of my favorite games. Is that first Spider-Man game, and I'm still playing Miles Morales at the moment. So I left it a long gap because it is very similar. And again, it does. A lot of people say it feels like DLC. It's just like you've got the updated map that just makes it look like Christmas and snow everywhere, and you're playing as Miles. So people the combat's really good, and you have like the invisibility thing. But this looks like a much better continuation, and especially the story. Like the story was really good in that first one. So to get, it's set a high bar that first game. I think so. If the story can live up to that first one, I'm all in. I'm definitely going to be picking it up.
Yeah, I think it will. It's got to be able to. It really has. And yeah, I agree. Changing things up keeps things fresh. As with every community, there's bundles of gatekeepers, and the comic book community is absolutely rife with them. I think people generally don't like things to be anything but a perfect solid adaptation because actually they want to be able to tell people that they know what's going to happen. So to have these games be completely different, completely free, is great. So yeah, I'm all in on Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna try really hard and not get all the peripherals that go with it. I would like that controller though. I'm gonna, in fact,
really
for anyone that doesn't know, I am gonna bring up that Spider-Man controller.
November, is it November?
It is, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, because you've got that and Assassin's Creed like just around each other, so I'm going to have to go for Spider-Man over that and then go back to Assassin's Creed after. But
yeah. Let's go on to PlayStation blog and see if they've got an individual pick. There it is. Look at that. Right.
Bear in mind, I've not played
October 20th.
the Miles Morales game yet. So just that question that came up about who do we think Venom is. I've played the first one. I'm not finished Miles Morales yet, but yeah, I was going to say, it's going to be Harry, right? Because it is like the idea that the Venom symbiote was because Harry was ill or dying, wasn't he, in Spider-Man?
Yes.
And I think that the Venom symbiote is like what Norman Osborn was trying to make to cure him. So that was going to be like they were going to try and cure him with this. What ended up being the Venom suit, I guess. That's what I expect is going to happen.
Yeah, and it, in a weird way, it kind of feels like a little bit like the ultimate version of Venom, and by ultimate I mean like the Ultimate Comics version of Venom, in which it was a suit created to try and like cure cancer, so you'd be able to immerse yourself in the symbiote, and it would cure all your ailments, but obviously it transforms into venom. So yeah, I thought that was really cool because it's almost like a little nod to things that have come before. So yeah, I reckon it's Harry, 100%. But yeah, that controller, just look at that. It's just so good. It's so cool. Absolutely love it. And then you can actually get the you can get the faceplate separately if you want to. So you don't have to buy the new console. You can just get the faceplate.
Interesting. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like, you know, I'm always gutted whenever like a console comes out. The amount of times they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to get a console on like launch day," and then for quite a long time the price doesn't come down, and then I end up like, "I'm going to get the console now," so it gets me to jump on, and then either the price comes down shortly after I bought it, or they bring out a limited edition like branded version of the console. I'm like, so to get like a cover only, that's pretty cool. Actually, I like that.
Yeah, it's a really good move by Sony. I think they should do that more. And maybe this generation they'll be able to do that because the faceplates do just slide on, slide off. So yeah, here's hoping they do a little bit more of that. But yeah, the Spider-Man, there's so much cool stuff coming for that game. So yeah, had to bring that in. I know it's not in the description of things we were going to talk about, but yeah, it really did feel like that had to be brought in there.
100%.
Okay, so the next one, I don't know a great deal about this because I kind of switched off from the whole thing anyway, and that is goodbye Game Pass.
Yeah,
Game Pass as a whole service is going.
Well, it looks like they're going to have another tier of no, it's not Game Pass. It's Games with Gold. You're thinking of this? Games with Gold is going.
Gold.
Ah,
yeah.
Well, thank God for that.
I didn't notice that on the thing before you put on there. No, Games with Gold is coming to an end, but I think it's going to effectively be replaced with like a lower tier Games Pass. So you're going to have the Games Pass as we know it now, and then a lower tier one, and then they're getting rid of Games with Gold. Which, to be fair, on most mod cons we've done, effectively, actually no, on every mod con we've done, we've gone like, oh, what's PlayStation games this month? What's the Xbox games this month? The PlayStation ones have been really good, and the Xbox ones we've gone like, what's this? And the PlayStation will give you like 2 40-quid games, and then Xbox gives you like 2 £7 games, and it's just a no-brainer. There's no contest between the two, so I think actually it's probably a good time to put Games with Gold to rest and do something different. I think the lower tier games are good. No, that's the thing. It's like you look at the difference in price. You think, well, I might as well pay that little bit more and then get Games Pass rather than Games with Gold, because Games with Gold started off amazing and it just really went downhill. They also it's 25 games. Yeah, they swap them. Oh, so they swap them out every 3 months, and you don't get to own them. So you don't get the permanent games, but you get like a library of 25 games. Which, and again, if you want to step up a bit higher, you can get Game Pass. Like, I think it's probably going to be a better deal than what Games with Gold was, because again, Games with Gold, I think over the last few months have not really brought out anything that decent.
No,
yeah, I think they kind of done that purposefully to make people think, I might as well pay more and get Game Pass, because Game Pass is excellent. You get such good value for money through Game Pass. Even if you only played 2 like AAA titles a year, you've paid for Games Pass. Even if you only play like a couple of games, so it's a really good way of like, again, you can try things out a lot easier, can't you? But no, I think it's a good move. I think it'll be good.
Do we know what the price is? Is it still going to be the standard Microsoft Gold price, or is it going to be completely new pricing?
Sure, I haven't seen that. I'd hope it'd be similar pricing. Yeah,
I'd hope it is, just purely because that would probably be the thing that stops me from keeping my Microsoft online account. Basically, I don't play my Xbox Online a great deal, but when I do, I really do play it quite a lot. Okay, $7.99. Okay, so hopefully it will convert something similar, and we'll be able to sort of keep that going at the price that it's at, because that would be a real shame to sort of not price people out, but price people into having to get Game Pass. It's always good to have the option. But that's cool. I think that's a great idea. Absolutely great idea. So while we're on the topic of Games with Gold, Games with Gold for July 23, which could end up being one of the last ones, We have got Darkwood. I can't say I know what that is. And When the Past Was Around. Also, can't say I know what that is either.
No, I don't know
that's
that.
Games with Gold this month. No. So that's highlighting Tim's point. I think Games with Gold has always been a bit naff. So yeah, getting rid of it, doing something else. That's not a bad idea. Let's have a look at what the PS Plus for July. I already know what a couple of them are. I know we're sort of well into July now, but just as a good comparison, let's see what we've got. Oh, stupid things clicking up, trying to get me to subscribe to them. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I pull this up. This is something I should have had preloaded and ready to go, really.
I know it's got Alan Wake, one of them.
Alan Wake was one of them, the remaster.
I've not actually played that. I hear good things, so I think I'll definitely be checking it out.
You've not played Alan Wake at all?
Nope.
No, yeah, it's good.
It is absolutely fantastic. Very, very cool. Very much like playing a Stephen King novel. And coincidentally, you play a novelist in there. Oh man, my browser is just not liking me today. There we go. Go straight onto the PlayStation website. That would generally make things better. So yes, Alan Wake remastered. Endling, Extinction is Forever, which I think is their indie title, and the cross-gen one is also Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So immediately there's Alan Wake, which is a huge title. There's Call of Duty, which is always a massive title, and then a nice little indie title to sort of pepper it in there. So yeah, fantastic deal there for your PlayStation 1, and that is obviously your that's just on your essentials, so that just covers you for your standard, bog standard, cheapest one that goes, and you do get to keep those until your subscription stops. So yeah, I think I could have switched the ticker for that then, couldn't I? PSN games. Yeah, it's still a good deal. Sony aren't forcing you into that market of we want you to buy our online service, but the online service for PlayStation, I hear, is getting better and better. New titles are getting added constantly, so still not quite as good a deal as Game Pass, but it's doing its thing. But I think Sony is still keeping really hard on physical media, which is great. They still really do push and pedal that physical media. So yes, we could do that. We could absolutely do that. I'd be totally into that, Goldtooth. So maybe I'll download that, and that would be one of the first times I play COD Online in years.
I don't know if I've ever really played COD, that much, to be honest. I might have played a little bit of the campaign. I don't think I've ever played it online. It's just never appealed to me, COD. I just avoided the whole thing.
The stories are always quite good. And the online is always good fun to a point, but sometimes you're playing against people, like Goldtooth says here, you're playing against kids who get a lot of game time on it, and then you come in after your day at work, you've put your kids to bed, you get your couple of hours in the evening, and you sit down, you just get annihilated, and all you can hear over the microphone or over the headsets is just these loads of squeaky voices. You're a mate, bang. You're like, oh man, this isn't fun.
You're shit.
Yeah, it's
I
shocking.
usually all right with I probably wouldn't do nowadays, so I don't play it as much now. But when I got really into Halo, me and a few mates would play Halo online quite regularly, and we played it regularly enough that we started to become like those guys, and people just log off after we were already like quite a few kills up. So that's quite satisfying. We actually got good. I mean, I was being carried, absolutely carried, because a few of my mates were really good, and I was just on the winning team. But it was nice to be on the winning team for a change. I think as well, we also had we had like our own logos. So we had like we all had, you can set like a banner and like a banner name and things like that. We all had the same banner logo. And then this predates RGR, so we all had that on there. So I think a lot of people would see us come in the lobby, and there'd be four of us, all with the same armor, same color scheme, same banner, and they would just log off because I think they knew like, oh yeah, these guys are clearly a party that are well organized and gonna just thrash us. So sometimes people wouldn't even make it past the lobby when we did that. So I'd imagine this would be like that with COD. You get people that are just really good, and you can't really keep up with them.
Yes, squad time. Let's go squad. We'll have to come up with
Yeah, definitely.
have to be the average Joes, and then we can each pick a character from Dodgeball, and that can be our
Average shows.
that can be our gamer tag. Or we could be the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. As long as I get to be Blazer or Laser, I will be dead happy.
Sure.
Excellent. So, we've starred quite a few bits in the chat, mainly so that we can go through Dorbs's game. So before we get to the genuine question from Goldtooth there, which was a genuinely fun question, which I've not thought a huge amount about. And whilst we go through Dorbs's game, I'm gonna in the back of my head come up with a game I would like. So let's start with level 1. You have to escape the dentures that are biting at your feet. I mean, it's a weird start. It's a weird start, Dorbs. Level 2 is like Splatoon with purple rinse hair dye. Can you confirm for me in the chat, Dorbs? Do you have to, like you do in Splatoon, do you have to like go into the purple hair dye to like move around? Level 3, you have an afternoon nap to build up your life bar. Level 4, you have to drive to the supermarket at 10 miles an hour in first gear. So you can't change gear at all. That's hard. That's
annoying
really
everyone around you.
Level 5 is a VR level where you have to pluck your mustache, but you're female. Level 6, you have to give lots of sweets to your grandkids before they get picked up by their parents. Goldtooth jumping in here then for level 7, push up your pars before bingo. And I'm presuming level 8 is the last level. So last level can be you planning your perfect funeral. It's based on your scores from the previous rounds.
I didn't see that one in the chat at the time. I can't. I've got no commentary for that at all.
So that was Final Grantasy, and then Dorbs is already coming up with a sequel, and the sequel is going to be called Challenge Granica.
Okay, now.
Final Grantasy and Challenge Granica.
A few levels off.
I mean, the world is your oyster. I'm genuinely. Have I missed some levels off? Oh, I'm sorry, mate.
I think we got them, didn't we?
I thought we got all of those, didn't we?
We did numerical order.
Yeah. 1 to 8. 1 to 8. Was there more than 8? I feel like we're doing you a disservice now. You put all that time and effort into that. Well, while we see if we have actually missed off some levels there, let's go to the question that Goldtooth threw up. What horror film would you like to see turned into a game? His would be House of a Thousand Corpses. That's a really good shout. House of a Thousand Corpses is a great movie. I really like it a lot. It would make a killer game. Wow, what horror movie? I'm going to have a little look at the horror wall and see what would make a great game. I kind of feel like a Cloverfield-inspired game would be kind of cool, where you kind of having to try and get from point A to point B. You could intersplice and be people trying to evacuate the city, and then you could intersplice that with being some of the Marines as well. Could tell the story from a different angle or something. So Cloverfield might be a cool shout.
How about Cube is a procedurally generated roguelike? So you would get spawned in the cube to begin with, but every time you go into the next room, it's just different every time you play it, and you've got to get as far as you can. And if you die, you have to go back to the beginning, but then maybe you can like get a few leveled ups or things like that. Like you have someone join your team who doesn't like blue rooms, and you can get a few clues, or you get someone who joins your team who's really good at maths, and then you get so far, and then you die again, and you're going to start again, and it'll just be procedurally generated cube levels. I think that'd be
dude. That's awesome. That's a genuinely good idea. That is a genuinely good idea. What's one of these other ones I've just seen? Yeah, this is a bit tongue in cheek. Not entirely sure if it counts as horror. I think it does. A third-person adventure game, hack and slash, in the style of Devil May Cry, Toxic Avenger. You just run around as Toxie, beating the crap out of criminals with your mop. I'd be all into a third person action adventure
weird,
of those.
that was actually, because I didn't see the film until I was much older. I didn't know the film existed. When I was a kid, I used to watch the cartoon series.
Oh yeah, Toxic Crusaders.
Yeah, because they used to get like R-rated movies and turn them into like kids stuff. And the game on the Mega Drive was based off the kids cartoon show. And it wasn't until years later I found out it was like a really like gory horror film. I was like, oh, gonna have to watch this.
Yep. Harry saying there, Texas Chainsaw. I know it's already being made into a game very similar to the Friday the 13th game, which was really good fun as well. But a Texas Chainsaw game not online would be pretty cool. Whether or not you'd have to play as the Sawyer family or as somebody getting stalked by them or something, that'd be kind of cool. I'm just frantically looking at
another one that could be fun is you did like an online thing where like you could either be humans or the enemy and have killer clowns from outer space.
Yes,
it could just be off the wall bonkers, and then you could like have different clowns that you could control and like try and set up traps in the town or something. I don't know. That could be quite funny.
I'd quite like, now I'm looking at it, I quite like the idea of there being a VHS type game where you sort of will have different anthologies throughout the game as well. So instead of being one long narrative, it could be like 6 or 7 different hour-and-a-half long segments. But that could be, some of those could be first person, some of those could be third person, some of them could be puzzles, that kind of thing. I'd be quite into that as well. Oh man, this is getting the old noodle flying. This one, I need to have a real think grandscape level where you're having a trim. Oh, he's all in on the grand today. Unbelievable.
Wish versus Oh dear.
I think it is worth highlighting. I know Goldtooth did say in the chat earlier, the Nottingham Video Games Expo was weekend just gone. So literally 2 days ago, myself and Tim went up for that fantastic event. Not going to talk too much about the events. I know me and Tim are going to do a retrospective, hopefully with Jarvis and Al as well. But yeah, we'll give you our sort of thoughts of the whole weekend. But I've been talking to Goldtooth on and off for ages, and I think he'd said he originally might not make it to the Nottingham Video Games Expo, and I was a bit like, oh man, that's a shame. And then when me and Tim are stood at the table, Ali's just come in with Rampage Tolg, and just out of nowhere, this Spider-Man mask with a hat on just appears in the middle of the convention hall floor space, and I just sort of clock him, and just the moment he starts dancing, you're like, it's Goldtooth. Oh my god, it's fucking Goldtooth. And it was just so funny. It was so funny. And then he just peeled up this mask, and there he was, the Girthmeister himself. It was so funny. And yeah, so as I think I said to him at the weekend, Goldtooth has now replaced Tobey Maguire as my favorite Spider-Man. It was so funny. I hope there's some. Oh man, there was song sung all weekend. Oh my god, there was song all weekend. There were some absolute crackers. He thought he'd lost his parking ticket at one point and came back to the area where we were stood, and it was on the floor, and another song erupted out of that. It was so man. Yeah, it was an absolute scream getting able to hang out with Goldtooth at the weekend. It was so funny. There we have it. I think that is us, gentlemen. We've managed to get it to just over an hour. Happy days. Thank you everyone for joining in the chat. It's always great when there's a lively chat going on, and we can interact with everybody and see what other people are thinking on these topics as well. So we are going to be doing mod cons once a month on a Monday. So we will be returning in 4 weeks' time. It's going to be regular, so hopefully this can start generating a little bit more. We'll obviously have lots of things to discuss over the course of the month, so we will make sure that we note down some of the big noteworthy bits. Thank you, Phantom Fiction. Thank you. That does mean a lot. Thank you so much. yeah, so hopefully there might even be a new intro for the next one, and see what we can swindle, see if we can up the production value a little bit. I don't know how we're going to do that, but you know, I like setting goals and seeing what happens. Normally, it involves me going to Tim. Tim, how do we do this?
Sure, we can
But
figure
yeah,
some stuff out.
of course. But thank you both very, very much. It's always great to be doing these with you guys. I do enjoy it because it's our little outlet to talk about modern gaming. So, yeah, just thank you everyone again in the chat. If you're new to the channel, or you're finding this through the wonders of the YouTube algorithm, please do consider hitting that subscribe button because that does help us out an absolute ton. Please also, if you've been here, give that thumbs up a little cheeky click because then we know you've been here. Anything you want to contribute to the discussions, please do continue to contribute in the comments below. It's always great to hear what other people are thinking about certain topics as well. So, you know, please do keep contributing to that. And yeah, other than that, we shall see you in 4 weeks' time. So thank you again, everybody, and we will see you next time. Good evening.
Bye.